Good morning. We begin our time together in song with Morning Has Come by Jason Shelton. Please mute your microphones and sing along as energetically as you like as we welcome this beautiful new day. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Gwinnett. My name is Jan Taddeo. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. It is my great joy and a huge privilege to serve our faith as the minister of this congregation. I am so glad we can be together this morning. If you have a chalice and a candle at home to light in a few minutes when we do our chalice lighting, please make sure you have that ready as I offer these words of welcome. We arrive from many places and many life experiences as we gather in this cherished space to recall our true selves, reflect on the meaning of our lives, and explore questions of ultimacy together. If you are here for the first time, or for the 1,000th time, you are welcome here. If you believe in many gods, a god, a goddess, no gods, or you're just not sure, you are welcome here. If you are gay, straight, bisexual, asexual, pansexual, transgender, cisgender, still trying to figure it out, you are welcome here. If you're covered in tattoos or you're a blank canvas, you are welcome here. If you shout amen after each song or sentence, or if you prefer to sit quietly with us, you are welcome here. If you come here sober, addicted, or somewhere in between, you are welcome here. If you are grieving, or if you are celebrating, you are welcome here. Your whole self, all that you were, all that you are, all that you long to be, is welcome here. And here is just where you should be, in a room full of compassionate, thoughtful, Unitarian Universalists ready to meet you where you are. You are home. If you are a newcomer this morning, I hope that you will indeed find your spiritual home here with us. We are becoming a radically welcoming sanctuary in a green space. We foster spiritual growth as we joyfully nurture connections within our walls and beyond. If this is your first time here, I encourage you to join us several times virtually, and then come and gather with us in person when it's safe for us to do so again. Come and experience the full flavor of this congregation and this faith tradition. Come and be curious, courageous, and compassionate with us. And now I invite us all to take a big, deep breath. And as you take another deep breath, bring every molecule of your being into this precious time we've set aside to mark the week, to be together. And now as sound moves through us and around us, may we be reminded of how deeply, inextricably, profoundly we are connected with one another, how interconnected we are with all life on this planet and with all the stars in the cosmos. We are one. The words for our call to worship come from the Reverend Teresa I. Soto, called Spilling the Light. Some people are used to keeping rules. Don't cross the street when the light is red. Only sensible. It turns out that keeping rules isn't the same as keeping covenant, which asks us, instead of keeping a bright line, to keep our promises. To what have we promised ourselves? To this moment in time and place, to this community, and even tenderly interconnected, this planet. We promise ourselves to the idea that we are each and all human beings. We promise that there is something moving between us that we cannot tame and cannot measure. The chalice is a reminder that what flame we keep inside us cannot light the way. The light must spill to shine. The thing you must be is yourself, unadulterated, shedding the willingness to journey alone, as though you are made of something hard and unforgivable. You are human. You belong right here, right now. And together we will chase away the sickness, the secrets, and leave only the open possibility that the future is a space for growth. We light our chalice this morning in honor of the commitments we have made as a community. If you have a chalice at home, please light it with me. The commitments we have made as a community to sustain a community of love through trust, compassion, and inquiry, to walk together towards our vision with curiosity, courage, and compassion, to continue to move closer to this vision of becoming a radically welcoming sanctuary in a green space where we foster spiritual growth and joyfully nurture connections and community within our walls and beyond. We light this chalice to ignite our fire of commitment. And now I think it's time for our Wonder Box. I wonder what's in the Wonder Box. Oh boy, it's stuffed full. You all must have been feeling very cramped in there. Let's see, we have a turtle. We have a dog. We have a toucan. You know what I think this is? I think it's a stork in a toucan costume. Put you over here. Yeah. And we have a monkey. All right. Boy, I bet you all are happy to be out of that box. Yikes. Okay. Oh, there's more stuff in here. There's a clock. All right, we have a clock. And we have, oh, this is a little pin that I usually wear on my stole, or often wear on my stole. It has 3 things on it. It says Black Lives Matter, hashtag I'll go with you, and a safety pin with black, white, yellow, and red beads on it. All right. Well, these all have something to do with our story this morning, which is The 3 Questions by John J. Muth. And yeah, there's no place to really set that, so it will just go over here. There we go. Okay, so maybe some of you have heard this story before. It's based on a story by Leo Tolstoy, and I offer it today because we're going to explore the commitments we make in our lives and commitments we want to maybe renew and take a look at. So here's the story. There once was a boy named Nikolai who sometimes felt uncertain about the right way to act. I want to be a good person, he told his friends, but I don't always know the best way to do that. Nikolai's friends understood, and they wanted to help him. If only I could find the answers to my 3 questions, then I would always know what to do. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? And what is the right thing to do? Well, Nikolai's friends considered his first question, and Sonia the heron, dressed up as a toucan, spoke. Know the best time to do things. One must plan in advance, she said. Gogol, the monkey, who had been rooting through some leaves to find something good to eat, said, you will know when to do things if you watch and pay close attention. Then Pushkin the dog, who was just dozing off, rolled over and said, you can't pay attention to everything yourself. You need a pack to help you keep watch and decide when to do things. For example, Gogol, there's a coconut about to fall on your head. And it did. Ouch. Nikolai thought for a moment. Then he asked his second question. Who is the most important one? Well, those who are closest to heaven, said Sonia, circling up into the sky. Those who know how to heal the sick, said Gogol, stroking his bruised noggin. Those who make the rules, growled Pushkin. Nikolai thought some more. Then he asked the third question. What is the right thing to do? Flying, said Sonia. Whoo! Having fun all the time, laughed Gogol. Fighting, barked Pushkin right away. Then the boy thought for a long while. He loved his friends. He knew they were all trying his best to help him answer his questions, but their answers didn't seem quite right. Then an idea came to him. I know, he thought, I will ask Leo the turtle. He has lived a very long time. Surely he will know the answers I'm looking for. Nikolai hiked high up into the mountains where the old turtle lived all alone. When Nikolai arrived, he found Leo digging in a garden. The turtle was old, and digging was hard for him. I have 3 questions, and I came to ask your help, Nikolai said. When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? And what is the right thing to do? Leo listened carefully, but he only smiled. And then he went on with his digging. You must be tired, Nikolai said at last. Let me help you. And the turtle gave him his shovel and thanked him. And because it was easier for a young boy to dig than it was for an old turtle, Nikolai kept on digging until the rows were finished. But just as he finished, the wind blew wildly and rain burst from the darkened clouds. As they moved toward the cottage for shelter, Nikolai had suddenly heard a cry for help. Running down the path, he found a panda whose leg had been injured by a fallen tree. Carefully, Nikolai carried her into Leo's house and made a splint for her leg with a stick of bamboo. The storm raged on, banging at the doors and windows. The panda woke up. "Where am I?" she said. "Where is my child?" The boy ran out of the cottage and down the path. The roar of the storm was deafening. Pushing against the howling wind and drenching rain, he ran farther and farther into the forest, and there he found the panda's child, cold and shivering on the ground. The little panda was wet and scared, but alive, and Nikolai carried her inside and made her warm and dry, and then he laid her in her mother's arms. Leo smiled when he saw what the boy had done. The next morning, the sun was warm, birds sang, and all was well with the world. The panda's leg was healing nicely, and she thanked Nikolai for saving her and her baby from the storm. At that moment, Sonia, Gogol, and Pushkin arrived to make sure everyone was all right. Nikolai felt great peace within himself. He had wonderful friends, and he had saved the panda and her child. But he also felt disappointed. He still had not found the answers to his 3 questions. So he asked Leo one more time. The old turtle looked at the boy. "But your questions have been answered," he said. "They have?" asked the boy. "Yesterday, if you had not stayed to help me dig my garden, you wouldn't have heard the panda's cries for help in the storm. Therefore, the most important time was the time you spent digging the garden. The most important one at that moment was me, and the most important thing to do was to help me with my garden. Later, when you found the injured panda, the most important time was the time you spent mending her leg and saving her child. The most important ones were the panda and her baby, and the most important thing to do was to take care of them and make them safe. Remember then that there is only one important time, and the time is now. The most important one is always the one you are with. And the most important thing is to do good for the one who is standing at your side. For these, my dear boy, are the answers to what is most important in this world. This is why we are here." Let us sing together "When Our Heart is in a Holy Place" by Joyce Poley.
Welcome and Listen by Reverend Natalie Maxwell Fenimore. Though you have broken your vows 1,000 times, come yet again, come. These words of Rumi speak to the welcome that is at the heart of Unitarian Universalism. We seek to be a home for all who desire our company. We seek to make a welcome for all those in search of our good news. Come, come, little children, teens, young adults, adults, and elders. Come, families in great diversity. Come to this loving home and safe harbor, but not to find a place to escape the world. This is a community of engagement and of creativity. Come together to create boldly, dangerously. We must create the beloved community with an awareness of how difficult it is, because it is hard work. It is work that challenges us to bring our whole selves and engage deeply and for the long haul. Our faith, our tradition, must call us into community. Our task is to create spaces where we might know and value each other. I am here, like each of you, offering my life story as a gift to Unitarian Universalism. As a gift to you, I offer my story as an African American woman, as a mother of children of color, as a Unitarian Universalist religious educator. When we welcome all our stories into the DNA of our faith, we add value, richness, and depth. The inclusion of my story and all your stories expands the vision of who we are and what we can become. To be the beloved community, we must know that we care for each other as beloveds, not merely in the abstract, but in the particular and the personal. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, can we share our stories of pain and joy, memory and hope? Can we be beloved to one another? So often we are hurt and hurting when we get to the door. We need to forgive ourselves and each other in order to go forward into deeper relationship. Maybe some people cannot even walk through the door until there is first an acknowledgement of the need to say a word of forgiveness. Forgiveness almost at first meeting. Our isolation from one another may be so great, our individual and ancestral pain so deep, as to cry out for reconciliation from the start. And this reconciliation is something else that begins with listening. We must listen to our stories. To reconcile, we need to make peace with the past, not by ignoring it, but by looking at it clearly from many sides, and then to move into renewed relationship. We must gain and grow from our knowledge of each other. We have all experienced times of pain, grief, and conflict that have separated us. We all need to be reconciled with something or someone. Here in our faith, we can try to forgive when forgiveness is possible. Our ears open to hear each other's voices, our eyes ready to see each other clearly, our hearts enlarged to hold each other's pain and joy, our arms entwined to embrace as we journey. Don't give up. Don't stop listening to one another.
The members of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Gwinnett, in covenant with each other, honor this entire congregation, honor its spiritual growth and its mission. It is our deeply held belief and commitment that this be a community of love. We sustain trust, compassion, and inquiry. To live our commitment, we the members of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Gwinnett recognize the inherent worth and dignity of every person and relate in a respectful manner with each other. We the members of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Gwinnett strive to understand each other and find agreement when possible, questioning and listening with open mind and heart. We the members of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Gwinnett practice empathy, forgiveness, and gratitude. We practice direct communication between parties to resolve conflict and misunderstandings. We hold ourselves and each other accountable for doing the work of the church responsibly. When reaching out to the larger community, we do so with compassion in the belief that we model an ethic of peace, of liberty, and justice. To these things we hold fast as we create our gathering place. We the members of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Gwinnett. We the members of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Gwinnett. We the members of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Gwinnett. We the members of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Gwinnett. To these things we hold fast as we create our gathering place.
Come, come, whoever you are, wander where worshipper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. This song in our hymnal is a beloved song by so many in Unitarian Universalist circles. Sadly, when the hymnal was created, the second part of that song was not put in there, the drone piece that has voices singing underneath. Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, and so on. It's a really important part of that writing from Rumi. You are welcome to come and come, whoever you are, and we will make mistakes, we will fail in our commitments, and we will welcome you over and over, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times. Today I want to speak a little bit to the idea of renewing our commitments. A commitment is the pledging or engaging of oneself. It could be a promise, a pledge, a covenant. There are lots of types of commitments, and as the more I started just thinking about all the types of commitments in our lives, there's a very long list. And if you were to take on the exercise of writing down and categorizing all your commitments, you might be a little overwhelmed by it. Some of the commitments are commitments to our spouse or our partner, our children, our pets, our family, our friends, relational commitments. And within those commitments, there's other commitments, like commitments to be present and have time with the people we love and to take care of one another, those kinds of commitments. To be good listeners, to forgive. There's commitments we make to ourselves. Maybe some of you have made a commitment to sobriety, and that's a commitment we have to renew every day. Some of you maybe have exercise commitments or commitments to a diet that works best for your body and your values. Maybe you have a commitment to get a good amount of sleep. Like I really, really aim for at least 7 hours a night. Maybe you have a commitment to your mental health. Maybe you have a commitment to your spiritual well-being, to spiritual practices that keep you grounded and centered. We have commitments to our work or our career, our professions. We have commitments to our colleagues. We have commitments to our education, to our school experiences. We have financial commitments. Maybe we take out contracts that require commitments like a mortgage or a rental agreement or a car loan or something like that. But we have financial commitments to take care of ourselves with lodging and transportation and food and healthcare and insurance and utilities and all of those basic needs. We have a commitment to be in community, maybe. Maybe it's your local community where you live. Maybe it's a community of people who share something in common, a book group. Maybe you have commitments there. Commitments that require us to be in connection in healthy ways, to see how we can be in an equitable relationship in community. Maybe it's a community that is seeking to build a more just world, a community where people can show up authentic and be themselves, a community that encourages us to grow, a community that makes promises to one another. Reminds me of a place I know, the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Gwinnett. So grateful for Kevin McKinney's song about our covenant. And I thought it was voices from the choir in there, but as I listened to it probably about 15 times this week, I noticed that it's actually Kevin singing all the parts. He laid down all the tracks and did it. It's just a brilliant piece. And I asked him to write a song for our covenant, and that was it. And he just did a brilliant job with it. I love it. It reminds us of what we've committed to here. as members and friends of this community. We've made a commitment to be engaged because we are a community of engagement, not an escape, but rather a new path, perhaps. We make commitments to learn and grow, to keep an open mind and open heart and open ears so that we can get to know ourselves and one another better, that we can grow in our understanding of life and those questions of ultimacy that we explore together. We make a commitment regarding our vision to be radically welcoming and to do the work that it takes to be radically welcoming, to hear one another's stories of their lived experience of living in a culture that has a lot of biases ingrained in it, biases around race and gender and so many other ways, age and so forth. So we are committed to learning more and more about the way inherent bias works through us and the way our own stories and history works through us and how we can grow to be more welcoming. We make a commitment to be green, not like makeup, but to be green in how we live, to walk more softly upon the earth, to leave a lighter footprint. And we're always seeking ways to do that within our congregation, on our property, in our building, and also we encourage everyone at home to be doing that as well. We make commitments to connect. When you come here to be a part of this community, we ask you to commit to finding one way to connect with others outside of Sunday morning. A place where you can have deeper conversations, you can explore new ideas, you can see new perspectives. We ask everyone who comes here to make a financial contribution to support the work and ministry of this church, because we can't do this without everyone pitching in. There's no other larger organization giving us the money to cover all of our costs for our building and our staff and our programs and all that we do together, all that we enjoy together. So that's an important part of commitment as well. But we do that because we find here this caring community. And so we make a commitment to care for one another, to connect and care for those who are maybe having a tough time or going through a health illness or having trouble with their job, whatever might be coming up for people. We are here to care for one another, to lift each other up and help each other to move forward through the challenges that life throws at us. We ask people to make a commitment to lead as they are able and willing, and we hope many are willing. We need leaders in our congregation because the congregation owns this congregation. The congregation leads this congregation. We have a board of trustees, an endowment fund board, nominating committee. We have lots of leadership roles, team leaders that are needed, people to pitch in for various projects. So there's lots of ways to serve, which is another commitment, to serve both within our walls and to serve justice beyond our walls, to look at how we can expand our circle to care for others in the community and to create a more just and equitable world and community for those around us. So yes, all these commitments can seem really overwhelming, can't they? But I think our story helps us to focus on our commitments. So when is the best time to do things? Well, now. Every moment we are doing something. Are we doing what we're committed to doing? Are we present? Are we focused? Are we there? So to be here now with whatever you're doing and not let our minds wander off to the other things we could or should be doing, but to focus on now. That's the most important time. Who's the most important one? The one you are with, the one you're serving, the one who stands by you. Sometimes the most important one is you, that you need to take care of yourself. Sometimes the most important one isn't physically right near you, but you know of someone you love who's in need. And so you donate platelets, or you contribute funds to the discretionary fund to help people, or you go out into the community and pack up food for healthcare workers. There's so many ways to take care of someone who is in need. That person who's most on your heart and on your mind is the one who's the most important. What's the most important thing to do? To serve in whatever way you are able, to serve where you are needed in the moment, to do the work that needs you to do it. Sometimes that's a small thing. Sometimes it's a huge thing. But the most important thing to do is to serve. Serve the world, serve humans, serve where you are, serve something that you care about. We are a covenantal community. Indeed, we make promises to one another. Our covenant, in that covenant song, I don't know if you got all the words or if you remember it, but we have a very aspirational covenant, and we don't always live up to it. We have to work at it, and we have to forgive one another. We have to have those direct conversations when things aren't going quite right. We have to practice empathy, forgiveness, and absolute gratitude, because there is a lot to be grateful for, and for all the people who make this congregation so wonderful and such a good place to be, and such a good influence in the larger community. Keeping promises, keeping our commitments requires a lot of us, and we have to be mindful to renew them, to renew our enthusiasm for our commitments, to consider maybe are there commitments that we no longer need to make sometimes, and maybe there's commitments we've set aside that we need to pick up again. So it's good to pause periodically and look at what commitments we have on our plate. Where do we need to put more energy? Where do we need to let go? Where are we doing really well? Don't forget that part. We take all that we practice in the congregation, this covenant, we take it out into the world, into the places where we work, we play, we learn, into all of our places. And I've heard just tremendous stories of the ways in which people have remembered our covenant when they were in difficult situations outside of the congregation. It renews our fire of commitment to look at our commitments, to look at our covenant, to look at how we are being in the world, if we're really living up to who we commit ourselves to be. Reverend Natalie Maxwell Fenimore says, we have all experienced times of pain, grief, conflict that have separated us. We all need to be reconciled with someone or something. Here in our faith, we can try to forgive when it's possible. Our ears open to hear each other's voices. Our eyes ready to see each other clearly. Our hearts enlarged to hold each other's pain and joy. Our arms entwined in embrace as we journey. When we remember the answers to those three questions, to be here now, to be with the one who is with us, to do the work that's in front of us, when we remember our commitments to beloved community, our heart is in that holy place, and the light spills out. In that spirit, I offer this prayer by Alex Jensen, an invocation to the Spirit of life, an alternative Lord's Prayer. Spirit of life and love, holy God, source eternal in our midst, yet still ever so elusive. To breathe your sacred name is a blessing. Your world become. Your will be done here on earth, inspired by our aspirations to do and be better people. May we have all that we need to survive, live, and thrive. Remind us to be gentle. May we love mercy and kindness, recalling the times when we've fallen short ourselves. Call us to be firm. May we not be tempted to follow selfish motivations or reside in our narrow privileges, unexamined and uninterrogated. Move us to counter and overcome evil and injustice in ourselves, our lives, and institutions. Yours is the beloved community, the fire of commitment in our hearts, and the spirit of generosity and abundance, now and always. Amen. And join me in this previously recorded responsive hymn by Robert Eller Isaacs and Les Clean to honor all the commitments in our lives we endeavor to renew. For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference. For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible,
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
for each time we have struck out in anger without just cause,
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
for each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others,
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
for falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit,
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
for those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
Our congregation is committed to creating a more compassionate world. And to this end, each quarter we split our plate collection with an organization nominated by members of the congregation and selected by our Give Away the Plate committee. Always a reminder that we need more nominations for organizations, especially local organizations, that would do well to receive our gifts. This is our last week to receive contributions for our third quarter plate recipient, El Refugio. Located in Lumpkin, Georgia, El Refugio provides the Ministry of Hospitality and Visitation, serving immigrants at Stewart Detention Center and their loved ones. Many people in our congregation have taken part in this important ministry by visiting prisoners at Stewart Detention Center, assisting at the Hospitality House, and donating much needed supplies for the house and for the immigrants who are deported or released. Our plate contributions also support the shared ministry of this congregation, so I ask that you please give generously to support the work of this important ministry in our wider community, as well as the vision and mission of our congregation. As we listen to a recording of our pianist Brian Bishop playing Children at Play by Bela Bartok, Unitarian composer, you will see on the screen ways to contribute to our offering via PayPal, Venmo, or writing a check and mailing it to the address shown. For our members and friends, this is the time of year we ask for a commitment of financial support for our 2021 fiscal year. Pledge forms were mailed at the end of August, and there is a link on the homepage of our website to complete a form online. So far, just over $85,000 has been pledged. This is great. And we have an ambitious goal of $160,000. So we're on our way. I also Oh, there was something else I wanted to say there, but it's gone. It'll come back later. Please consider an extra generous level of support this year to support improving our building in a preparation for our return and expand our programs for justice and outreach in the coming year. And what I wanted to say was that if you marked the box on your form last year to renew automatically, some people have pledged again and they've changed their pledge, so that's great, thank you. And we will be contacting the people who have not yet submitted a pledge but said they would renew to check in with you to see, just to confirm that, because it is important that we just make sure you still want to do that. If you are worshiping with us for the first time, your presence here today is a generous gift to this community. You may choose to let the plate pass. Our offering will now be most gratefully received. May the generous gifts that we receive this week move us towards creating a more just and compassionate world. I am grateful for Toby Lyles for taking part in the service this morning, as well as for Christiana McQuain for managing our Zoom room, and Russ Taddeo for running video and sound. And now is the time for our call to connection. If you are new to our congregation, please text welcoming to this phone number, and you'll receive a few texts and emails for a few weeks to guide you in getting connected. Also, for anyone here, if you are not already subscribed to our weekly e-news, this is a really important time to get that because it has all the links and information about ways to connect. So you can email info@uucg.org to request to receive the weekly e-news. Please check out our website. Our register for events button is at the bottom of the website page, as well as the pledge form and the religious exploration registration form. And check us out on Facebook. Also, if you're new to the congregation, you may want to come to our UU 101 visitor orientation program that takes place on the third Sunday of the month, and immediately following the service about 12:30. And then our 102 program, for those who have been to 101 and want to learn more about the path to membership, we have that program also on the third Sunday. It's helpful if you register for those so we know you're coming. Thank you. Big effort nationwide, UU the Vote. It's a nonpartisan effort by all of our Unitarian Universalist congregations to get out the vote, voter education, voter registration, drive people to the polls, deliver their absentee ballots, whatever is needed to get out the vote. There's a lot going wrong, in my humble opinion, in this country right now, and there are some good things too, some really good things happening too. But our vote is our voice, and it's the one thing that we can all do to express how we want our leadership to be working for us. Thank you. So sign up at uuthevote.org. Our elementary religious exploration programs are taking place on Sundays at 12:30. This fall, we're using the program Cartoons, Exploring UU Values through short films from Pixar Animation. I think it's a lot of fun. If you want your elementary age child to be involved in this, please register for religious exploration programs. You can also register as an adult so that you can take part in our you can take part in our adult programs whether you register or not. Children need to be registered because it's a private link. We put a lot of security on that Zoom room for our religious exploration program, so you have to sign up in order to get the materials and the link to go to that. For adults, we have our 10 o'clock program. It's nice to register because then it's a commitment. When you register, you've made a commitment, and then you can show up. So next week we'll be talking about listening with your heart. What's the difference between conversation and companioning, and exploring the gift of compassionate presence that's embodied in the practice of companioning. On Wednesday, I will be continuing to offer an opportunity to explore spiritual practices. If you have a spiritual practice you would like to share with others, please let me know. We'll schedule a week for you to do this and get the announcement out about it. This week, I think I'd like to just explore the practice of meditation, and so come and join me for a little bit of education about meditation, and maybe we'll try a short meditation together. So I hope that you can join me from 2 to 3 on Wednesday. Also, on another way to connect, just more casually, is our virtual happy hour on Thursday evenings from 6 to 8. We're looking at some ways to energize this, maybe shift what we're doing, maybe it'll be something different. But there are not a lot of people coming right now, so we're trying to figure out what you all want. So please let me know. Let us know, let Christiana know, and we can figure out what would best serve us in getting connected. Also, check out your e-news and the UUCG newsletter and our website for more ways to connect. Our Covenant Choir is meeting on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock on Zoom for check-in, and now for strategy and lessons and so forth on how to do our first virtual choir piece. So please join us for this. Everyone who likes to sing, it's not a closed group in any way. Everyone who likes to sing, come and join us. And lots of other ways to connect. Next Sunday we'll have Belief Explorations. We have our book club. I think I need to update that. I think that's outdated, but we do have a book club. I think they've already had their discussion on Brave New World. Our Covenant of UU Pagans continues to meet. Yarns from the Heart, Women's Spirituality, Sylvan Sanctuary, Gwinnett Understanding Secular Truths, lots of things. Check out our website and sign up for something. Please save the date. It's just a couple weeks away. On October 10th, on Saturday evening, we're going to have a stone soup celebration where you are invited to make your own stone soup or whatever you like, but the idea is stone soup. We have everything we need. This is a big pledge drive celebration gathering. We're going to have fabulous conversations, and most of you should have received by now a stone for your stone soup, the recipe for stone soup, and some information about the story of stone soup and why we're doing this. So please mark your calendar. We'll have more details with the exact starting time and all of that. Next Sunday we'll announce that, and hopefully we'll get it in your newsletter too. Anyway, come, show up. We want to, have everyone there. And just a reminder that we have our coffee has been restocked and our chocolate's restocked. And if you are in need of coffee or cocoa or chocolate, you can text the word equal for equal exchange to that number and let us know what you want, and we'll be in touch with you to get it delivered to you. Also a reminder that if you use Amazon, then please designate our congregation for the Amazon Smiles credits. It really does help with our financial health, so do that. And now let us rise in spirit as we say together the words we say as we extinguish our chalice, followed by our closing song, Fire of Commitment, by Mary Catherine Moore and Jason Shelton. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. our service has ended, beloveds, but now our service to one another and to the world begins. Go forth and let your light spill out. Please continue to take precautions during this pandemic. It's not even close to being over yet. We may see yet another increase, another surge. Wear your mask, keep your distance, wash your hands, keep your commitment to a bubble if you have one.